Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Micaiah Wood Reviews. You have come to listen to me, the Tony Micaiah, Master of Minds and of Men, of course. And this is episode number 68 of this show. This week, we continue with our vaguely Lovecraft-adjacent movies. Thankfully, this one doesn't start with "the," as today we are going to look at Black Mountain Side. We've had a hit and a miss thus far this month. Will we get 2 strikes in a row, or will this one be as good as The Void? Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty and find out. Of course, before we begin, you know the routine. Click the subscribe button. I've earned it. You know it. You're not doing anything else with your life. Just click it, and we can go ahead and move on. Black Mountain Side, directed by Nick, a long Polish name, who also wrote it. Oh boy, as a director and writer, he's done some absolute crap. I've not seen this yet, so I don't know if this is his one a diamond in the rough, but I'm not holding my breath. He's a boom mic operator by trade. Maybe he should have stuck to that. Written also, like I said, by him, starring Shane Tuerden. The last 2 things he did in 2018 were unnamed characters in shows I don't watch. So there's that. And Michael Dixon. He's done more things, and he's had actual names in them. That's all I can say. Release date for this was July 30th, 2014. What came out the same week? Sharknado 2, the second one. After the first one took on a trauma-like interest in society, the bad movie but entertaining place in the zeitgeist, they decided to expand on that by making intentionally bad movies, none of which landed because that's not what makes these kind of movies interesting. And The Memory Book, a Hallmark original about romance. Shocker there. Adrienne Barbeau is in it. She's Queen of Mars from Tharsis to Olympus Mons, if you don't know that. Let's go over the plot here. So in the upper part of the Great White North, that is Canada, we have a story as old as time, or really as old as 1982, because this is just people deciding to recreate The Thing with half the budget, talent, and story. But yes, we see a group of intrepid, mostly archaeologists, along with a number of other native people, uncover something in Canada. I think you can see where this is going. The native workers hastily leave, and we are left with scenes of attempted mountain tension in which a mysterious presence begins to assert itself over the wills of the group. This leads to madness, death, and in the end, every man is killed save one, by the others, of course, who ends up getting his leg caught in a bear trap to end the movie. Now, I rewrote the plot summary twice, trying to add more substance to it, but really I can't. It's pretty much a budget version of The Thing with none of the tension. That's not necessarily a bad thing, so I'll go ahead and do a pros-cons for this one just to give it some symmetry. Pros: the scenes of tension, such as they were, as few as they were quite compelling. The movie really doesn't get in any real capacity until around the hour and 5-minute mark, and from there we get a few scenes that kept me watching and not entirely bored. Well, when there was action, it was good, solid. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it was enough that I could see where they were going with it, why they were doing what they were doing, and how they got to the end point, which naturally occurred without too much forcing. That being said, I really liked the ending with one guy talking to the entity before blowing himself up with dynamite, which we'll talk about more in a moment, and the one guy who was seemingly not affected walking away only to be caught in a bear trap. It was kind of funny. I would have liked to see more set up with the bear trap, like he insisted on being out there or something, but whatever. Have sort of a cosmic fatalistic thing that I got a kick out of, and a little bit of a laugh. It's not a badly shot film. The art direction is fairly decent. The sets, I'll get to them, but the actual filming, there's some really nice shots. The opening shot, the tension shots, the close-ups, they do everything they can to work around the low budget, and in some ways it really works. It's not an uncompelling film. I think a lot of that is due to the cinematography, the camera work and the art direction. The monster, I flip-flop on this for a little bit, but I kind of like it. Visually, it's very silly. It's a deer or whatever vaguely humanoid beast. It's supposed to be a kind of parasitic entity or demon of some variety that infested them, and this is just a manifestation of it. I'm called back to the 2-parter from David Tennant's run on Doctor Who, The Impossible Planet and Satan's Pit, both of which I liked, which besides The Thing, this borrows heavily from. The wrong entity, parasite invades a space station, and everything goes to shit. That's pretty much what happens here. Even the voice of the monster here, which we see communicating and compelling people to act in certain ways, was really almost out of the same voice and pitch and what they were saying as the Doctor Who episode. Unfortunately, nobody in this had any of the charm of David Tennant nor Billie Piper brought to the aforementioned episodes. There's a cool chubby cat, Gibson, that I liked, but is killed off in the blandest and most uninteresting way possible, with no real sense of tension and nothing comes of it. It's just a cheap sympathy grab, so we all feel like, oh no, something bad is happening. Cons, outside of a few moments here, something happens. A lot of this is nothing, and I mean nothing. People sitting around talking, and that would be fine if there was some sense of tension, or barring that, any interesting, compelling, dynamic, charismatic characters. I don't know why I'm supposed to care about any of these people except for the fact that I'm watching a movie about them. That's about as far as it goes. That's about as far as they take it. None of the characters are characters. They're just random guys doing random things. And I don't have any feelings about that. Their deaths are a non-issue in every conceivable way. And you kind of are just watching to see where the monster thing goes. The sets, the gore, the acting are all fairly middling to outright poor. The gunplay was well done, well crafted, made a lot of sense. Every other kind of violence just didn't really work. It looked cheap. There was a severed arm scene that was eye-rolling. The sets were all these cabins, but they didn't look sustainable in the far, far north. It looked like you might take a hunting trip up there, not for any prolonged use, and everyone kept leaving the goddamn doors open all the time, and no one complained about how cold it was. I hated the sets. All these windowed doors that had like no seals on them. Like, they didn't look sturdy. It took me out of it. It was hard to keep thinking of this as any kind of serious film, budget aside. There was a lot that could have been done, and while I appreciate them shooting in a snowy location, that was another problem. There was like 2 inches of snow on the ground for the whole film. It never snowed. We never saw any more snow coming. It just came off as really not that cold of an area, sans being sort of in northern Canada, which leads to another problem. I mentioned the tension, and I didn't mention there was no sense of claustrophobia, which is what they were desperately trying to get. And I'll go over this movie trying to be the thing shortly again. But there just wasn't any. We have native workers, which I don't even know where to go from that. And they leave back to their reservation or something by walking there, and it's like, oh, they walked? That's weird. But like, so you can walk out of this place? I don't know why none of them have a car or a snowmobile for this. In the absolute blizzard of 2 inches of snow that they've had, just any one of these people could have left at any time. It felt silly that they didn't. I know what they were going for, but they did not get there. Like, if people could just walk out of here, then just leave. So let's go over the ways it's like The Thing. In the cold, Arctic, a group of science-minded men uncover a buried thing. Hell, they even have a foreign crew in it, like in The Thing, though they aren't killed in this one, the Scandinavian group. Sinister thing comes from the structure they found and causes everyone to delve into a paranoid state, not trusting anyone around them. One of them goes crazy and tries to do in the others, afraid the thing will get out, which is probably the best scene in this movie, the guy shooting everyone else. It's a very Kurt Russell-esque scene with one guy sitting around, getting mad at his PC, though he's playing like duck game and not chess. And he wears shades, drinking whiskey, and talks on the radio. I guess it was supposed to be a cute homage, maybe, but it came off as just, okay, we get it, you like The Thing. One guy uses dynamite, which, why would they have dynamite here is beyond me. They're excavating like a foot into the ground. You don't need dynamite for that. But it was really aping The Thing there, and there are lots of others, and that's not a bad thing. I wish they would have kept them to a bare minimum, as it overshadowed the film, as I kept thinking about a much better film, one of the greatest horror films of all time, in The Thing, and it did this movie no favors. Soundtrack, none. To the credit of this film, the sound was actually very good. Sound design was good, and it honestly didn't need a soundtrack to enhance any of the good scenes. I give massive credit to the sound people for this. It didn't sound cheesy at all. Sound was great. Overall, you may think, with all my criticisms, that I didn't like this movie, and that's not accurate. It actually wasn't that bad. It was just decidedly mediocre. It didn't do anything that I've not seen before. It didn't do the stuff that it did all that well. I mean, the stuff that it tried, it didn't do all that well. But it kept me watching. I was only bored a little bit by a lot of the sitting around doing nothing for days scenes, which I guess is a testament to the film. I didn't mind this. I didn't in any way hate or really dislike this film. Not something I would recommend, but I certainly don't think watching it would be detrimental to your health. If you're looking for a movie like The Thing, but is not The Thing, and I don't know why you wouldn't just watch The Thing, I might say put this on in the background while you're doing something else, maybe directing or something. Certainly didn't give me any sort of real Lovecraftian vibes for what it's worth, though. Yeah, just okay, I guess. Well, that was, for better or worse, Black Mountain Side. What do you think about my review? Do you like Arctic horror movies? Do you feel there are so few that do it right? Do you have a fave that isn't The Thing? Let me know down below. So get my Patreon and let me know what you want me to review. Don't forget to my Instagram for daily Twin Peaks memes. That's Demon Peaks. And my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast, here on YouTube. Check that out if you want to see me talk about more deranged things without any real formula to it. Well, next week, will it Lovecraft? Let's find out when we look at Starfish. Well, this has been the Total Makaya, Master of Minds and Men, and goodbye.